Everyone, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing well. I am super excited for episode 2 of TMichelle Spotlight Series, and I am super excited to introduce my guest that's coming up shortly on the Zoom. She is a former federal employee. So if you know anyone that wants to know more about making some additional income and just truly understanding what success looks like when you transition to a different opportunity. This particular spotlight is the series is created because we often celebrate success, but we rarely get the opportunity to hear about or hear a conversation in regards to what actually built it. So my hope is that everyone in this episode, what I'm actually doing is introducing you to incredible individuals who are building life with purpose and making an impact through entrepreneurship. So we will get started right at the top of the hour. As you all already know, I am super nervous. I'm just going to let the cat out the bag. So you all please forgive me from that standpoint, but I am super excited. And right at the top of the hour, in about 3 minutes, we'll get started. So if you know anyone that wants to hear more, understanding what success looks like, understanding, there's always trials and tribulations in life, but what does it look like when you steadfast, when you truly put your boots on and really wanting to do more for yourself as well as for your family? And let me just tell you, I have a rock star that's coming up. She is my mentor in this amazing opportunity, and I met her 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And I remember I was in the carpool line and I was speaking to who now is my sponsor in this opportunity, Jasmine Smith. And we had very similar lifestyles, single mothers, daughters, college, mine was going to college. So I just love the fact that she really shared some gems with me. We mirror match, meaning our lifestyles were the same and we just connected. And from there on, 10 years later, here we are. And let me just tell you, oh my goodness, you are definitely are in for a treat. So go ahead, share, like, comment, and get ready for an amazing conversation. I am super, super excited. And just know, sometimes we always see the success of individuals, right? In terms of they made it to the top, they've done this, they've made, all this money, all these different things, but we never see the route or hear that conversation in regards to the journey that got them to where they are today. So that's some of the things that we're going to talk about on this afternoon, on this Winning Wednesday. And I'm just super excited, super, super, super excited. So we'll get started in just a moment. I'm going to wait for my special guest to come on board, and then I will do an official introduction of our special guest, Miss Letoria Mayberry McCombs. Oh, I see that beautiful face. How are you, beautiful?
I am amazing and excited about this topic we're going to discuss on tonight. Thank you so much for inviting me on today. And just to throw it back at you as you reminisced on when we first met 10 years ago, I remember that conversation like clockwork. And I remember saying to Jasmine, yeah, she's going to be the one because she understands being a single mom. She understands, the perseverance. She understands commitment. She understands consistency. So I already knew that you would come in, take this opportunity by storm, and truly understand the value of positioning yourself as an entrepreneur. So congratulations, kudos to you, six-figure income earner inside of this company, one of the top 100 income earners in the company. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you, Miss Latoria. So listen, today you all, we have Miss Latoria Mayberry McCombs on, and let me just tell you, she is a former federal employee, and she was one of the top, and she'll tell you more about that. She was like one of those high ranking where her boss was, that person in the oil, in the White House, right? So she'll get into that, but I really want her, what she's going to do is she's going to talk about her experience as being a federal employee and then what actually embraced her into entrepreneurship. So today, let me just tell you, she is a six-figure income earner. She's generated well over $500,000 in earnings in earnings. But not only that, it's residual. And then not only that, she's helped produce several six-figure income earners in this opportunity. And guess what? I am one of them. And I'm so blessed and so grateful to have her in my life and to being in the right place at the right time. So, Miss Letoria, for those that don't know who are you? Who is Miss Letoria Mayberry McCombs? You're on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to share the video too. So I am number one, I am a child of God. I definitely love the Lord, walk with him, talk with him. I am a daughter. I am a mom, a single mom, actually. Well, now I'm married. I started off as a single mom, but I raised my daughter until she was actually 28 by myself. And not only that, I am the individual who was really that person was a big dreamer. And I hope I have some dreamers on here today. I knew that wealth was in my sight. I knew that it was possible. I just didn't know how. I went to school, got those good grades, got that good job, had some amazing jobs throughout my career. Landed a job with the government where I was there for over 14 years, climbed up the corporate ladder. But I knew I needed to be successful in my own right, because being a single mom at 19, as you know, all the responsibility fell on me. I always said my daughter didn't ask to be in this world. I chose to bring her into this world so she would never want or need for anything. And thankful to my parents, her grandparents, for their support and their push and their belief in me, to know that, I was going to raise a successful young lady, but also be able to help some other people in the process. Not knowing that it was going to be this way, but God is very humorous and he has this way of really bringing things full circle.
I love that. That federal job, right? People think that that's secure. You got it made, you're gonna get your pension, all these things. But what happened in that season of your life to make that decision to transfer over into entrepreneurship? Like just taking that leap of faith. I know that
I'm
you
a,
said that you're a woman of God, right? And that faith, something within you said, you know what? This isn't the all be all. I know what, they teach us to go to school, get a job, and all that stuff. And you had a federal job making a lot of great money. So, but talk about that transition to where you are today with entrepreneurship.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. That probably was the breaking point. So when I said that, I went to school, I got my college degree. I started working for a company called FPMI, and with that company, I hired security screeners for the airport. So it started there. All of a sudden, that particular company, and I started off at $30 an hour. Right out of college, making that type of income. Well, the company lost the contract, and I was one of those individuals that they let go in the process of that. And then I went into the real estate industry where I worked with a mortgage company, building a home, got the home built, and the mortgage company decided to downsize. That happened. And so with the government, it was just kind of full circle. Started with the government as a GS7, went from 7, 9, 11, 13, and on up. And I thought that was my safe, secure job. I was faithful, to my employee, but I realized that the employee was not just as faithful to me. What I meant by that, when the furloughs started happening, it ended up cutting my check in half, exhausted my savings account, had me living from paycheck to paycheck. But this particular time, it affected me in a way like no other. My daughter was on her way to college. I would have to figure out how I was going to pay college tuition, making sure that she was set. And I said to myself, there's no way I'm going to let another man, another woman dictate how I'm going to feed my child. And if I can put her through college or how I can really provide for her. And so that was my shift. I said, I got the skills, I got the ability, I'd helped make other companies rich. Why can't I do it myself? I have some skills and ability to do that. And so when I was introduced to this, I don't know if you want me to go there. I can stop here if you want me to. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was introduced to this, honestly, I was a little timid about it, because if anybody else on here, you already know, going into entrepreneurship is, some people are very nervous because they have fear, false evidence of things appearing real. But when you know your abilities and your capabilities, you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to bet on me. So when I was introduced to this by Mr. Orlando Moore 10 years ago, I was a little hesitant. I was like, is this something I really want to do? It's network marketing. So we're going to go ahead and let the cat out the bag, because most people think of network marketing as not a vital source or a career to become successful. Then they look at it as, oh, it's a pyramid. I was that uneducated person too. I'm gonna be honest. I
Mm.
told him, number one, I got a top secret clearance. I cannot, be involved in anything illegal. And he said to me, there's nothing illegal about it. And he educated me. He said, illegal is when you're selling something's not a product. Travel is our product. Now, I don't know if you're on here and you thought to yourself, man, I never thought about being a travel agent, but I always wanted to experience the travel industry.
Mm.
So I said, okay, being a single mom, I couldn't travel with my daughter. This is a way I can literally tap into an industry no one's allergic to it. No one. One thing about travel is recession proof. So I said that to myself. Everybody wants to travel. Time and money is one reason why they don't. And I love what documented billionaire Warren Buffett says: what you like to do, you make it your hobby. But what the world likes to do, you make it your business. The world likes to travel. If you're on Facebook right now listening to us, go down your timeline. You can look down your timeline. People are traveling, or they're getting back from traveling because kids are getting ready to start back to school. But they are doing some type of getaway, whether it's a staycation or a vacation, family reunion, weddings, or whatever else. I said, wait a minute, this industry is lucrative. Let me bet on me. And so after he educated me, I got inside the opportunity, and he just told me, if you follow my blueprint, you'll make more money than you ever made before in your life. And I'm gonna stop right here to let you take it from here, because I know you probably don't want me to go that far,
No,
but
it's
that was
great.
changing.
Life changing, right? And you said a
Yes.
lot of gems there, right? In terms of that transferable skill. Being a federal employee, you had that skill set, and then you transferred it over here into this industry, right? Some people think that, I don't know, I have to learn something new. I'm not a salesperson, I'm not this or that. And all you did is simply had the mindset of wanting more. You said that you were tired of getting furloughed. And what some of you all that may not know, from my understanding, just hearing the story behind it, you're still working and you don't get a check. Where do they do that, right? Where do they do that? And she said that she was a G 15, 14. That means she was all the way up there somewhere, right? I don't understand it. And I may have it wrong with what number it was, but she was a G something, right? Just to paint the picture at a very high level. She wasn't like answering the phone. She was really doing so. Did you hear her also say she had a clearance? So that clearance means something that's very big. So I want to hone in on that, because Mr. Orlando Moore, she was skeptical, right? Because like, I don't want to lose my clearance as a federal employee. But then not only that, she talked about transferring her skills over. So let's talk about the skill set, the mindset, and then not only that, let's talk about um the vision of what network marketing is. And I got a couple of questions for you around that.
Okay. So the skill set. Well, one of the things that I say in coming into this industry, what Mr. Moore really told me, he said, you love helping people. And I said, I love helping people. I saw my parents serve. My father was a pastor, my mom, first lady. I saw him serve the community. I saw him serve people. My mom was a hairstylist. So service was in me. And so when he said, if you love helping people, this is a way that you can literally help people tap into an industry where they can be their own boss. They can set their own hours. They can make more money than they ever made before. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll put in the chat ministry. Ministry was big for me when I came inside this opportunity. I had a ministry, Models for Jesus Christ. And I was doing a lot of things in the community. And one of the things that I know with ministry, you need money. You need money. So I said to myself, okay, I do want to help people, but I really want to help people become financially free. Because one of the things that I brought up in the church, I always heard tithing, but a lot of people couldn't tithe because they couldn't afford to. Now I had a vehicle where I could help people really position themselves where they can earn income. So that was my mission. That was my transferable skill, right? I was able to talk to people. I was able to share some information with them, show them how a business opportunity could change their life, how they could make additional streams of income inside of the travel industry. And not only that, create an opportunity where parents could travel with their kids and
Right.
they could literally be able to go around the world to show them that experience. So those were the transferable skills. Another thing that was transferable to me is that I already had the mindset of consistency. And I said to myself, I've been consistent on my job. A lot of y'all probably have worked jobs. How many years? Put it in the chat. I mean, put it in the comments. How many years you've been on your job? So you probably been consistent at one job, right? Committed to one job. And then if you're married, you committed to your marriage. So all it needed was consistency and commitment to your goals. Now your goals, not no one else's goals, but your goals. And then a lot of people are they're really reluctant because they say, "Well, all y'all doing is recruiting. Y'all recruiting." And I have to tell them, Miss Wilson, you were recruited. If you own a job right now and you're watching me, somebody recruited you. They got your application, they did an interview, they recruited you into their company. But it's so bad when network marketing gets this, we get this taboo about recruiting, but you're being recruited by your employee to actually build their fortune, but nothing's wrong with it. But when we tell you that we're going to actually help you start a business, now you can build your own future and not somebody else's, it's wrong. That's why I said people have this misconception of network marketing when it's around us all day. Insurance, real estate. It's happening. It's just called different things in different arenas. Okay. So those transferable skills came with me just really understanding what I had in the palm of my hand. I have been recruited by a lot of people, have worked for them 20 to 30 years, building their business. They were filthy with rich. But what I realized is they was not going to pay me enough to live in the same community they lived in.
Wow.
Now I got an opportunity where I can build my own economy. I can stay in the community that I choose to, and I can live in the community that my boss wants, that lives in now. That's what I knew.
And I love that, right? So with that misconception piece, some people say, "Well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm an introvert." Like I was joking with you just before we got on here, straight nervous, the whole nine, right? Talking to myself the whole nine. But it's all about helping the people. And sometimes you have to get the fear out of the way of your why. Don't let your fear be your why not, right? And so that misconception is just it's funny to me now that I know more than what I did 10 years ago, is that, we do it every day,
Every day.
but you just don't get paid for it, right? And like you stated, the product is travel. It's the sexiest industry in the world. So, with that misconception of, being an introvert. Oh, I'm not. And I think I told you when we had our call, I said, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to da 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 da. I'm an introvert. And then look at me now, right? In the top 100 out of 140 some thousand individuals, six-figure income earner residually, because of that one conversation that I had with you. And I'm so grateful for that. So, Miss Letoria, so another question that I have for you, we kind of talked about the misinterpretation of our profession. But if you had to really explain it, you touched on it a little bit, right? But how would you describe it for someone that's on the fence? Like, I've seen, I have my friends, my family. Yes, they're talking about the travel, that's the product. We have 8 ways to make additional streams of income. But in the industry as a whole, because we know that Planet Marketing has the best compensation plan out there, right? But in terms of the industry, and then tied into the culture of what Planet Marketing is bringing to all, around the world.
So I would say, even with the industry, and I'm gonna go back to the part where people feel as though they need to be a salesperson. Of course, sales is a transferable skill as well,
Mhm.
because as you talked about, we sell someone on something all the time, whether we are selling them on our clothes, what we wear outside. And I always want to, and I want to just zoom in on the influencers
Mhm.
on on the internet right now, because I watch them all the time. I watch them selling other people's product. I watch them wearing other people's clothing. I watch them wearing other people's hair. I watch them doing all this, and they're so good at influencing other people to go buy these other people's product. And I tell, as I talk to them, I'm like, now what if you had your own product? Now you have travel. Now you can influence people to really truly buy into something that you're building yourself and you're not building for someone else. And that's the great thing about network marketing. It puts you in position where you are your own boss. It puts you in position where now you're not really selling people on something, you're helping people see that there's another way. That's my interpretation of network marketing, is that they had created more millionaires than most people even think of. Most people ask themselves, even just with me, working this business for 3 years, I started making $250,000 in 3 years. And my job, it took me 11 years to make six figures. Now you do the math.
Right.
Do the math. 3 years. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, is the compensation plan that aggressive? Yes, it is. If you're doing the work inside of the opportunity where you're helping people. I'm going to keep using those two words, helping people, because that's really all that we're doing.
Mhm.
And then you ask the question of, our company, the culture of Planet Marketing. I love that we have a system in place. I came in here with no information, no knowledge of network marketing, no knowledge of travel, and you as well. My majority of my team, this is the first time that they actually have experienced the industry of network marketing. So that's a hint, hint, clue, clue that Mr. Donald Bradley has built a business opportunity that has a system in place. And all you have to do is come in and follow the system and then leverage. Y'all write this down, leverage. I worked this business part-time in 3 years, made $250,000, and I was still on my full-time job making six figures. All I did was leverage my coach, and all he did was coach me, train me, and develop me into actually being a professional in the network marketing industry. People ask me what I do. I tell them I'm a network marketer. I'm a network marketer. And all of you on here listening to me today are network marketers in some aspect. You're just networking for somebody else's network. I'm networking for my own. So that's another thing. And Planet Marketing gives you the not only the culture, but I love that Mr. Donna Bradley says, make it, save, and invest it. So he's teaching us the fundamentals of a future, not just of the right now money. Right. I remember he said, Letoria, now you're making 100,000. I don't want you to save 100,000. Now you're making $250,000. Now I want you to save $250,000. How many mentors at your job will actually help you really define what your future looks like? He says, right now money is right now money, but what about your future money? Because that six figures I made 10 years ago is nothing now. It's nothing.
It's pennies on a
It's
dollar.
pennies on a dollar. So it's really totally different. So I love having mentors like him and Mr. Moore actually help me plan for my future. What do my future look like? And I'm going to put a post out today because people talk about legacy, legacy, legacy. That's the big thing that people talking about, legacy. Y'all, legacy is more than just leaving money. It's leaving a footprint where when you do leave, your money don't run out. That's the footprint. And I love that Planet Marketing has a legacy component. So if anything was to happen to me, my daughter Tasha, my husband, my parents, if my mom still, all of them will be well taken care of because I position myself in a business opportunity where Mr. Donald Bradley says, once you become a director inside this company, it feels secure in knowing that in the event of your death, your business outlives you. Yo, just because I stop breathing, my business don't stop paying. That $500,000, Tasha will still receive long after I am gone. I know some six-figure income earners are sitting on here listening to this. Well, I make six figures on my job, but your six figures is different than my six figures. Mine's residually. So it's going to follow me. You go to work, you get paid. You know, I love that I'm building a business that I don't need a break from. I'm building a business that I ain't even looking at retiring from because it's so fulfilling that my retirement is really going to go beyond me living. That's the great thing.
That's the greatest thing of all time. And I think that's what gives me chills because I remember when that was announced. I believe it was Lauren's senior year, prom,
2017.
2017. It was her prom senior year, and it was a sacrifice, either prom or go to convention. And I'm so glad that I went to convention because when that was announced, the Legacy Pledge, there was not a dry eye in the room. So Miss Letoria, you did touch a little bit in terms of the basis network marketing being a legitimate business, right? But what would you say to those individuals in terms of comparing network marketing versus the traditional business ownership? What does that look like? And I know the overhead and all that stuff, but I'm gonna let you talk about that.
Okay, and I'll go over it overhead, but I met a young lady last night in Atlanta that came up and speak to one of our directors brought her up, and I think she owns a practice of some sort. And she was talking to me. She's a traditional entrepreneur. And I asked her, I said, what stood out to you? What did you like most about what you heard and what you saw? She
Mhm.
said the legacy piece. And I said, explain, expound. She said, I own my own business now. I'm a successful entrepreneur. I own a practice. She said, but when I leave this earth, my practice is going to leave with me. My kids can't carry that on. They don't want to carry that on. But what you all just showed me tonight is when I leave this earth, the business that I have can continue to pay my children, my grandchildren, their children, their children, long after I am gone. That's the big difference between a traditional entrepreneur and what we're doing right now. We're building a legacy, and not too many companies have this in place. So you probably watched a network marketing company or looked or once was a part of it. All the individuals. It's nothing like this. It's nothing like knowing that if I close my eyes today, my daughter, my husband, with my mom, they will be okay.
Mhm.
It's nothing like that feeling. And then the overhead. I mean, I made a $200 investment one time, and guess what? Now it's yielding me over $40,000 a month residually for a one-time investment of $200. Because some people are going to be like, well, if it's a business, why I got to invest? If you do a traditional business, you got to invest, and you're going to invest more than $200. And this is $11 trillion industry, right? So even if you go to where you're, not knocking anybody's profession, real estate license, insurance license, you're going to pay more than $200, right? When $200 invested inside this business, give you everything you need to be successful, your training, everything else. When I tell people this is the best $200 I ever spent in my lifetime, and we blow $200,
Okay.
right? And then I know some people said, okay, well, a lot of people doing it saturated. A lot of people doing real estate, but y'all still going to get real estate license.
Mhm.
And it's not saturated. Saturated means that you are just the norm. I'm not the norm. Every day I'm thinking of ways to build my business to set myself apart from someone else. So whatever industry you go in, whether you're selling bread, whether you're selling houses, whether you're selling clothes, it can be saturated if you just going to be the average person that's doing it and not showing value or how people can actually buy from you, partner with you, and be successful.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I
Sorry,
love it.
I think I got too far carried away.
No, I love it. You're dropping some amazing gems today, and I just love it. And some people, they say, "Okay, well, I'm going to try it out." I was one of those that said, "Okay, this is going to be. I just want to, Lauren wants to go to school, out of the country, da da da." Made it, like a little side hustle to bring in, some additional income. And what would you say to those individuals in terms of, we talked about the difference between network marketing, traditional business, right? But with this opportunity, it's so amazing. You've dropped so many different gems. And when you did your transition into entrepreneurship, into network marketing as a professional network marketer, in the beginning you said, I'm not really sure. So you kind of treated it like a hobby. What was
Yeah.
that one thing that said, you know what, wait a minute now? Is this what's really happening right now? And then you just took off running half $1 million later, residually. Like
Oh,
what was that trigger point for you to just make that switch?
Oh, you know what? And this is crazy because now I'm thinking back. I have been introduced to a lot of different things in the past, and I said no to everything because, again, my thought process, and I'm that person that, I'm health and wellness. I can start something, then I stop. So I couldn't do that. I cannot really share anything that I don't believe in. And travel was something that I truly believed in. And it's something I desire because I always wanted to show my daughter the world. And my daughter got a chance to go to Disney when she was a little girl. I think she was about 5 years old. And I remember how heartbreaking that was for me because I wasn't able to take her. Her dad parents took her to Disney. And the day she came back so excited about going to Disney, she wrapped her arms around my neck and she was telling me all about it. I just cried.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, those are experiences that I wanted to have with her. She took her first step while her mom was working two jobs. Two jobs. And I remember coming in to get her from her grandparents' house, and her grandmother said, "Walk to your mom." I missed that. So in my mind, I said to myself, what this industry can do for mothers just like me that never experienced that with their children or missed out because they worked 2 to 3 jobs because they were, just boggled down with bills or the weight of the world. They couldn't really enjoy their children's life. That's where it became real for me.
Mm.
That's where it became real for me because I remember nights that I prayed and I was thinking to myself, man, I'm hungry, but my child has to eat. I remember the nights that I prayed, okay, she got a field trip tomorrow. Yes, I can ask my parents, but that's not what the way I really want to live my life. So that's when it became real to me. And I think my aha moment where it just took off is, as I said, in 2 years, I started making $100,000 a year. My daughter had wrecked her car, and I was at the car lot getting ready to buy another car. And I was sitting in the car just thinking, how am I going to do this? Why and Mr. Bradley and Mr. Moore called me. And Mr. Bradley said, "Hey, I don't know if you know it or not, but you are, I think it was $1,000 away from $8,333 a month." Now, I wasn't even touching this money over here. Didn't even know what I was making. Now, you were making some money if you really wasn't touching the money.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, what? I'm making, here I am making $7,000 part-time in a business that I'm really just treating it as, okay, it's a business, but I'm really helping people. So no thought came to me how much money I was really making because I wasn't cashing in anything. I was just letting it sit in my savings account. And I said, wow. And he asked me the question. He said, if you had one moment in time, would you take it or would you let it slip away? And I said, I'm going to take this moment because here I am on a part-time basis about to make 6 figures. And it really was just to be the evidence of other single moms just like myself who was dreaming of just being able to, make 6 figures. I was making it, but some people would never have that opportunity at a job. So let me be the evidence. So I went after it. And that's what changed my whole mindset of this opportunity.
And it just brings me chills because I know, like I said earlier, our life is very parallel. And it's
Mhm.
just that one decision, that one conversation, that one step of faith. In a million years, I would have never thought that I would be where I am just off of one conversation. So we're going to close this up in just a moment because you said
And
something.
just to throw it back at you, Miss,
Mhm,
I know this is your interview with me, but I want to really throw it back at you because even because this is just authentic conversation.
mhm,
Even when you were going through what you were going through with your job, and
mhm,
I remember you going through it, and how things was happening, and you know I what makes me feel great about this opportunity is testimonies like yours because you didn't wait until your roof started leaking before you tried to fix it. God had already prepared a place for you even when that was crumbling. So you got to share that with the listeners too because a lot of people are in a situation right now and they're on hard times and they're staying there instead of making that move And you might have been at hard times that time when you got started, but you made a decision you were going to stay there.
You see how she flipped it on me, y'all. She just flipped it on me, and now I'm even like, whoa. But you know what? Yes, for those people that are listening, and what she was just saying, I could relate to that. My family dynamics changed. I became a single mother. I worked at the Big Brother company that knew your credit score, knew when you read a red light, knew everything about you. I was an operations manager, managed four different departments, 365, 24 hours a day. I was making well over six figures. The bonus checks, when she talks about that she makes that 40,000 in conjunction with that other money, those were my bonuses. But I was time broke. I was a single mother, and I was like she was talking about not being able to do the things with her daughter. I wasn't able to do those with Lauren. So I took a step of faith, and I was in a situation. No, I was getting my oil change, and my sponsor is a millennial. How about that? And I'm a Gen Xer, right? But something was like, Jasmine Smith, I normally don't talk to people because I'm an introvert, but something in my soul, in my spirit said, say something to that young lady. And she was on her computer. I said, excuse me, are you a travel agent? Like, what do you do? And she told me, and I said, okay. And so at that time, I was going through my transition. I didn't want my daughter not to have the lifestyle, private school, all these different things, but I knew that I had to make a change. And let me tell you, I started working this business, this opportunity on the part-time basis because of one conversation that was authentic, true, gave me the gems, hold on to my coattail, I'll show you the way. Planette put me in position to make six figures. You all, my corporate job, because you know how people, you're there and you're comfortable. I was comfortable, but I was time broke. I was exhausted. And then not only that, they wanted to promote me. It's like, I really am not going to have any time. None at all, period. And then I'm a single mother. I was like, oh, heck no. Right. So then funny things started happening in the office. So I said, okay, God, I want you to show me my way. I said, I don't know what it's going to be. I said, my income is coming. You already know you've created me and you know what my journey is going to be. And so with that journey, this opportunity put me in place when my corporate job let me go. And I'm gonna tell you, it was the best blessing ever because I was gonna leave anyway because my health was declining. I was stressed out, all these different things. And it wasn't worth the time or money from that perspective because I knew in divine order something else was going to come to play. Well, guess what? It was Planet Murphy. My product is travel. And it went from there. And when my job let me go for $2.28, you all, that's my birthday. That was a sign
Mm.
from a heaven from God. But I just want to say, yeah, that's where I am as an introvert. So yes, I got it out. That's my little testimony.
And
But
I really
I'm gonna
wanted
flip it, I'm gonna flip it back over to you.
But I wanted to say that because some people are going to look at this video and they've been hoping, wishing, and praying for something. They're going through the same thing that you were going through. They're exhausted. Their health is failing, or things are not right on their job. They're facing different criticisms on their job, and they're just sitting there thinking, "I got to do this because it pays my bill.
Yes.
It
Yes.
pays my bill," and they don't have a way out.
Yes.
But today you're hearing an opportunity that can help you with a way out. We're not telling you to quit your job. We're showing you how you can supplement your income in the meantime. So when your plan A becomes your plan B, because that's what happened with a lot of people. Their plan A became their plan B became their plan A,
Right.
right? Because they started making more money.
Yeah.
So I just had to get that out there.
Well, thank you, Miss Letoria. So, what would you say to those individuals? We said we've given a lot of gems, a lot of great gems, but what would you say to those individuals that are still on the fence? And I know some of our business partners, other individuals are going to leverage this information. And what would you say to those that are on the fence and still undecisive, even with the great gems that you've provided to us today? As a $500,000, you're on your way to $1 million. And they, ooh, like, oh my goodness, what would you say to those individuals? That just gives me chills. I love it.
I would say bet on you. Bet on you. You deserve it. And then I would ask you, what would your 16-year-old self say to you today?
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, what would your 16, I mean, would you say that you where you said you were going to be at 16 when you graduated college, or when you made the decision to do what you're doing now? And with the economy the way it is right now, everyone needs to bet on them. Don't bet on your job. Don't bet, you got to bet on you. Take your skills, your abilities that you have right now. Let us show you how to really truly take advantage of this opportunity. Bring those same skills over here. Be your own boss. Set your own hours on a part-time basis. Have the ability to make 10 checks in 1 month. Y'all imagine having 8 streams of income inside of one opportunity. And I just want to say this, because when I worked this business on a part-time basis, everyone, I got 2 checks from my job, right? So 2 times 12 was at 36. That was 36 checks a year. But how about I was getting at least 8 checks inside this opportunity? So just imagine 8 plus 2, that's 10 checks. That's 120 checks in a year.
Mm.
Now, what would it look like 10 checks coming in your bank account? Whether it's $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, it don't even have to be a big check, but 10 extra checks coming in. I want you to think about that. I want you to say, what would that do in my household? It can be as big as you want because you're in control. But I'm just saying, having that ability to have additional 120 checks and then your 36 checks, that's 136 checks in 1 year.
I love it.
1 year. So stop overthinking it. And if you have not taken a look, and this comes on your timeline, again, it's not happenstance, it's divine appointment, and somebody's been telling you, hey, look at it, and you have not taken a look, just take a look. You don't owe, I mean, you owe yourself that.
Mhm.
You owe yourself that to take a look, because it's not going to keep just dropping in front of you just to drop in front of you. And then for the people who've been saying, oh, I'm still praying about it, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with all sincerity in my heart. You've already prayed. Now you just got to trust God. Y'all, faith without works is dead. And if you're praying for something, it might not be dressed up like the overalls and look like work, but it may be just the thing that God has for you in order to change your life and your bank account. So bet
Ooh.
on you.
Bet on you, bet on you. So this series is called Beyond the Opportunity. So when you hear those words, what does that mean to you?
So beyond the opportunity, I look at it as this is bigger than me. This is bigger than just a business in the travel industry. Beyond the opportunity for me means that it's beyond where we can really help people see another way, change the trajectory of their life, not only for their life, but their children's children's children. So beyond the opportunity is a way, place for us to really help some people become financially free.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Miss Letoria, for sharing your journey, your wisdom, giving us your heart today, your transparency. And I just truly appreciate you for that one conversation, because if I did not have that one conversation, I would not be where I am today. So
But thank you.
if this conversation sparked your curiosity, reach out to the person that actually invited you. Share, like, and post, and get back to that person so we can get your questions answered for you. It's a team effort, it's a village, and we're here, as she stated, we are out here helping the people around the planet. So I want to thank you again, Miss Latoria, for your time. I know you're super, super busy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and grateful for you. So thank you for
Like,
joining.
I can't even make the heart like y'all. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank
See, yours went up. I'm
you.
just, oh, that's so good.
I love it.
I'll
I
do
love
it some
it.
other time. All
But
right,
thank you
thank you.
so much, everyone, for joining us for our second episode of TMichelle Spotlight Series, Beyond the Opportunity. And we'll see you soon. Have an amazing day. Thank you again, Miss Latoria. Take
Yes,
care.
thank you.
Bye
Bye bye,
bye.
y'all.
Bye bye.